It's hard to top a video about myself. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you all coming out here this evening. It is, from this perspective, it's awesome. Not in the sense of it being cool, but in the sense that it actually inspires awe. To paraphrase the psalmist, how good it is when brothers and sisters can come together in peace. Thank you, Shannon Dacus, for lending your name and your voice to this kickoff, and for being the kind of community servant that we all wish we could be. To Christy Califf, who dedicated her recent professional life to strengthening our educational community. To Rick Rayford, who is a model for business and civic leadership. To Reverend Milton, for your lifetime commitment to sharing your faith and service to our community. And when I'm done speaking, my chair, Amy Lively, will be up here. In a relatively short period of time, Amy and I have become good friends. She's been a trusted advisor, helping me bring this campaign together. Throughout the years, I've stood before almost everyone in this room tonight, wearing different hats. But tonight, I'm coming here as a candidate for the Texas House of Representatives. And please know that by being here tonight, you all are now on the ground floor of an unprecedented campaign here in East Texas. I'm running as an independent, so let me begin by addressing that. Last May, I was in Kerrville, Texas, at the Folk Music Festival, and I spent the afternoon hanging out with somebody who I didn't know at the time, but turns out is a former state rep from Houston. In the course of our conversation, I told him where I was from, and when I told him I was from Tyler, he mentioned the name of our current representative, and he shrugged his head. I nodded in agreement, kind of that unspoken thing that this man was not a fan of our current rep, affirming that our current rep is not really representative of the community. So this person I was talking to, this former state rep, then suggested, kind of off the cuff, maybe you should run. And I laughed it off as a silly comment. But he insisted, and I said, why would I run to what seems to be an unwinnable seat? He said, so what? I said, what? So I should raise a lot of money and spend a year of my life trying to win a seat with the prospect of losing? He said, yes. I said, now why would I do that? And his answer to that question is what I think about every day when I wake up. He said, why does your current state rep get to own the narrative? Well, that's all my ears needed to hear. And so I began a journey over the summer to think about this run. I met with about 100 people from across the community to process this narrative. And ultimately, I decided that my 15 years of community service and working with people from both parties has taught me that East Texans are better when we work together. And so I chose to run as an independent because it was the best way for me to be the candidate that I wanted to be. If I'm elected, I want to be beholden only to the people of East Texas. This November, it will be me versus our current representative. And with your support, I'm up for that challenge. In the past 6 months, I've heard every reason not to run. But I can't ignore the fact that our current rep acts on behalf of his West Texas funders rather than his East Texas neighbors. Last time I checked, Midland is not in our district. And so that's what drives me to be here tonight. The simple fact that when I look at our current representation, and I spend every day seeing how our community gets shorted in Austin for lack of effective representation, I become motivated by the fact that I know that we can do better. I know that we love one another more than we fear one another. I know that we are smarter than our pundits let on. I know that we are more complex and nuanced than people think. I know that effective leadership can exist in this community because I know this community. From the nonprofit sector to the healthcare community, the public school to the mental health clinics, from our local colleges and universities to the thriving business community, we have law enforcement agencies and our legal communities, a powerful faith community, and our local arts community, parents to children to neighbors. For 15 years, I've had the privilege of hearing all of your stories, of serving with you, and by being inspired by what you do to make East Texas awesome. That's the voice that I want to bring to Austin. I recognize that this is an uphill battle, but that actually only gives me more energy. If you know me, when you tell me no, I tend to do the opposite. There's a George Bernard Shaw quote that was made famous by Robert Kennedy. And even though Kennedy said it It always sounded better coming from the mouth of Reverend Jerome Milton here. And even though I haven't prompted him, I'll let him say, what's the quote from Canada that you love? That some people ask.
Some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream things that never were and say, why not?
I spent 6 years working on the MLK March with Reverend Milton, and I got to hear that so many times, I'll never get tired of it. I love the fact that he sees obstacles, and he doesn't ask how to submit to them. He sees obstacles and asks how we can overcome. I draw strength from that very idea. And so tonight, if we join together, we can claim victory for our children by leaving a stronger East Texas behind. We can claim victory for our public schools. It's the most important investment we can make, and it's one we cannot afford to keep messing up. We can claim victory for our veterans and first responders. Every legislative session that goes by where they are left behind should be a mark of shame. We can claim victory for our infrastructure by funding the maintenance of our current roads instead of playing games, and by investing in a future that recognizes the importance of smart transportation. We can claim victory for our health care. While we are surrounded by some of the finest medical minds and facilities in the whole country, it means nothing if people can't get access to that care. And we have to treat the doctor-patient relationship as sacred. We can claim victory for economic opportunity here in East Texas by being business-friendly, by not supporting legislation that drives away growth and that celebrates the hard work of East Texans. I promise you this, if I'm elected to the State House as an independent, it will be a national story. People across from the nation will be scratching their heads, wondering how East Texas finally decided to push back against a corrosive political culture, and how we put somebody in the State House who represents love and not fear, who works for uplift, not suppression, who champions holy cooperation over exclusion. I know East Texas at its best. I've sat on the boards of our community, I've taught in our schools, I've sat with our business leaders, large and small. I know that this community is better than the political divide we see. And I'm asking all of you to simply trust me, to continue in my role of community servant down in Austin. We have a long road ahead of us. It's 8 months till our election. So I'm going to be asking Republicans and Democrats and independents to help me get the word out that we can do better, we can be better. As I said in the video, if I'm elected, I will promise to do the hard work, the homework, and the heart work necessary to make East Texas proud. That's why I'm excited to throw my hat in the ring and begin my candidacy for the Texas State House. Please vote for me and let me be your voice. Thank you.